2720. The phone number is 620-431-2730.
Dr. David Livingstone, the medical missionary who discovered the Zambezi River and the famed Victoria Falls, who brought the commerce of the outside world to the jungle. Henry M. Stanley, newspaperman and explorer who discovered the headwaters of the River Congo and whose daring expedition resulted in the finding of Dr. Livingstone and the continuation of his work. Samuel Baker, famed English explorer who in 1864 braved the jungles of Africa and achieved what was the ambition of all explorers of this time, the discovery of the Albert Nyanza, the chief western headwater of the River Nile. Paul du Chaillu, who explored that part of the west coast of Africa, now known as the Belgian Congo, discoverer of the pygmies there, and who made important research into the life of the gorilla. Carl Akeley, famous American naturalist and sculptor who invented the camera which is still used by explorers and who is buried in the Africa that he knew and loved so well. Mr. and Mrs. Martin Johnson, who spent 12 years exploring and studying the Dark Continent, whose discoveries and records are an invaluable contribution to civilization, the people of our story. Watchmaker's boy from Independence, Kansas, the daughter of a Santa Fe engineer from Chanute, and a passport to the four corners of the world. So begins the modern saga of Martin and Osa Johnson. The story starts at a San Francisco dock. Mrs. Jack London, wife of the famous author, comes to say goodbye. All ashore that's going ashore, and all aboard for adventure. Following their plan to retrace Jack London's route through the Solomon Islands, the Johnsons' course will lead them out across the Pacific for 3,683 miles to Tahiti, where they charter a ship of their own and cruise on 2,774 more miles to the Solomons. And now, settled down to the routine of their voyage, Martin and Osa begin to take stock of their equipment. One old hand-cranked motion picture camera, 2 still cameras, a meager supply of film, Jack London's .30-30 Marlin rifle, 2 automatics, and some rough clothes. A whole expedition in a trunk and a bag. The Solomons at last. What lies beyond that peaceful, placid shoreline? Will it be a welcome or... But the question is soon to be answered. Though wary of their visitors, the natives show their bewildered interest, and a few gifts serve to lure them before Martin's camera. There's a wrinkled old man, an albino, whose skin and hair always remain pure white. Then along comes a bright-faced boy. In a few years, he may not be so handsome, for like his elders, he'll be covered with the work of the tribe's tattoo expert, and will probably become a fierce-looking hunter, his ears and nose pierced by human bones. There's even a native dance staged especially in honor of the visitors. Not yet experienced as a cameraman at this time, Martin succeeds in getting pictures of the dance that looked like nothing so much as a parade of jumping jacks. Music for the dance is provided by the Devil men of the tribe. For centuries, mothers in this part of the world have bound the heads of their newborn babies with soft coconut fiber to develop a strange mark of caste. Human monkeys. They're a tribe of natives whose homes and highways are in the tall trees. Watch out there, boy. That's a dead-end street. How do they keep their footing away up there? That's easy. Nature has taken care of that by giving the monkey people a simple twist of the toes, enabling them to grip with their feet, much like an ape. At Malaita, Martin and Osa are met by a private military guard attached to the British resident commissioner. Here they hope to get permission for a visit to the islands of Malakula, where cannibalism still exists. On a later visit to Malaita, they are destined to learn that the commissioner and every man in this guard has been captured and eaten by those same cannibals. The permission finally granted, it's off again, this time for the forbidding territory of Malakula. Onward goes the party on its adventurous quest, farther and farther south, through dawn after dawn, sunset after sunset. Finally, Martin and Osa bring their little ship abreast of Malakula, the cannibal island. But on the very threshold of adventure, a new problem presents itself. Native dread of the cannibals is fired by the sight of a derelict boat, stripped and deserted on the beach, and the crew threatens to abandon the Johnsons to do their work alone. Finally, the day is won by Martin with a promise that they themselves will lead the trek into the interior, and the party begins to beat its way through the dense jungle thickets. Suddenly, on all sides, suspicious eyes peer out through heavy undergrowth. The original of all broadcasting stations, the primitive jungle telegraph throbs out its ominous message. Entering the village, the Johnsons shudder as they see an old man squatted before a fire, endlessly turning a human head over the blaze. And another examining